Why do some items sell really fast on Poshmark and eBay and others take months, if not years, to sell? That is the question I am asking in today's video, and in order to help me answer that, I decided to look at all of my sales from all of 2025 and so far in 2026 and pull just the sales that sold really fast within a week or less and the sales that took at least 6 months to sell. Because really knowing what sells is really helpful, but knowing why it sold the way it did can arguably be even more helpful. First, I want to talk about the items that sold fast within a week or less. And the first thing I noticed amongst all of these sales is how many performance or athleisure brands were in that list. So Lululemon, Alo, Viore, Gymshark, Varley, On. These are all brands that I've had really good luck selling quickly, but the thing I want to note is that it's not just about the brand, it's about the actual style. I did pull a few specific items that I want to share. First is this pair of Viore Dream Knit joggers. These sold in only 4 days and left me with about $40 in profit, as well as this pair of Viore Ponto pants. These only took 1 day to sell, left me with a little over $30 in profit. Same with this Alo men's hoodie, took only 1 day to sell. And then this Alo sports bra took only 6 days to sell. This On Olympic t-shirt took 7 days to sell. Very searchable items, brands that are very well known, and people who are buying these items already know what they want. They've likely bought this specific item from this specific brand before and just are repeat buying that same item or a similar item that they know they like and can easily search for. And here's a really good example from Lululemon. Things like the Swiftly Tech t-shirts or long sleeve shirts, those can sell very fast. This one only took 2 days to sell. Same with these Lululemon speed up shorts. These only took 1 day to sell, super fast. And then the scuba hoodie, another great style, took 4 days to sell. All very fast, and pieces from Lululemon that I think, consistently sell pretty well. But just to compare a couple other styles from Lululemon, like this racerback tank top, took 423 days to sell, so quite a bit longer. And then this pair of Ready to Rulu joggers, these took 217 days. So still items that sold and, maybe were still good pickups in the end, but took quite a bit longer, definitely not as much demand. The brand is definitely just one piece of the puzzle. The specific item can do a lot of the heavy lifting. Once somebody knows they want that brand, they really know that they want this one specific item, and that's what they're on the lookout for. Then I noticed how many items were new with tags, and I kind of think of new with tag items as like a little cheat code. Like if you find a good item and it's new with tags, you can just expect it to do quite a bit better than it would if it were pre-owned. Some examples: this Faraday new with tags top, this sold in 5 days, left me with 46 in profit. This pair of On running shorts was also new with tags, sold in 4 days. And then this Patagonia jumpsuit that was new with tags took 1 week to sell. Very, very quick. Buyers seriously are filtering by new with tags. So anytime you find a new with tag item that's a good item, otherwise good brand, good style, whatever, it's an absolute cherry on top. Another thing I noticed amongst my fast sales was that so many of them were not about the style and the cool factor. It was just purely about functionality and just people, looking for these items because they're useful and they need them. So some good examples was this pair of Smartwool base layer leggings. These sold in 1 day, so fast, especially if you list Smartwool during the fall and winter. I cannot even tell you how fast it can move sometimes. Another good example is this Patagonia Kids Nano Puff jacket. This sold the same day I listed it. Again, just a very functional, warm, good fall winter piece, although the brand definitely helped that one too, being Patagonia. This pair of Nike dry fit running shorts was another good example. Took only 2 days to sell. Somebody's obviously looking for that specific item, and when the buyer knows exactly what they want, they are much more likely to purchase that quickly and just kind of move on with it. They know what they want, they're gonna buy it, and that's a good day for you as the seller, right? Another thing I noticed when looking at these fast selling items was how much it helps when there are multiple audiences looking for a specific item. So if there's more than just one type of buyer, I think that can really increase how fast an item moves. So here's a couple examples. This was a LL Bean Sherpa vest. This only took 2 days to sell. And for this one, it could hit the outdoor hiking crowd. It could hit the more preppy New England group, the people who just want functional layering pieces. There's a lot of different markets that this hits. Another example is this Fjell Raven hat. Again, only 3 days to sell. And also for that outdoor hiking group, could also be for more travel or minimalist kind of a style. One more example is this Outerknown blanket shirt. This one took 4 days. This could hit on the more coastal surf lifestyle kind of group. It's also a very sustainable brand, so people who are more mindful of that. Could be for the cozy but put together crowd. Like, there's a lot of different people looking for an item like this. A good little test you can do when you're out thrifting, when you look at an item, is ask yourself if you can picture like 2 or 3 or more groups of people wearing this item, and if so, the chances of it selling are probably a little higher. If you can only picture like one specific group of people wearing this item, it might take a little bit longer to sell, might be a more narrow pool of potential buyers. Next one I want to touch on is just like trend-driven items in general and how quickly they can sell, but only if it's at the right specific moment. Trendy items can move very fast, but you kind of need to strike when the iron's hot and pick them up in that right moment. So some items, you know, are on trend very quickly and then they're not. Some are on trend for years. But, you know, if you can really pinpoint what's on trend and pick up items, there's just, of course, going to be a lot of people on the lookout for them, or people who want to pay attention to the trends. Not everybody does, but definitely an on-trend item, even if it's not necessarily a super popular brand, can perform better than a really good brand that's an outdated style. At this point, the pattern is pretty clear that fast sales are coming from items that are very searchable, items that people are wanting to repeat buy. They know them, they love them, they just want to quickly buy them again. Items that are functional and comfortable, and items that are immediately recognizable, good styles, good brands, things that a lot of people and a variety of people are on the lookout for. So now let's move into what sits for a long time. And these are items that did eventually sell, but they took at least 6 months. And one of these took over 1,000 days. So let's get into these. The first is that generic items can definitely not sell well. They can definitely get lost in a sea of other listings. Some good examples is this Uniqlo black turtleneck, took 417 days. This Lululemon racerback tank top that I touched on earlier took 423 days and only left me with a $3.63 profit. This Madewell waffle knit top took 287 days. There's nothing necessarily wrong with these items. They just don't have anything that's really like pulling a buyer in, making them super desirable, and nothing about them is super searchable. They are very similar to so many other listings. So did eventually sell, but took a very long time. Another thing I noticed was that some items that are a little bit too novelty, or not necessarily too novelty, but require a very specific buyer, can take quite a while to sell. So I mostly was noticing these like graphic items or novelty prints and items. So one example is this Daydreamer Doors t-shirt. This took almost 600 days to sell, very long time. This pair of Gap Y2K track pants, I thought they were a pretty trendy style, but I think it is kind of a niche buyer on some level to want these more swishy track pants. I don't know, I feel like that's a trendy item, but I might have been wrong on that. It took 533 days to sell. This Adidas and Simpsons hoodie, I probably should have left this, but this eventually did sell after 250 days. So they just need the right buyer to come along and eventually buy them, but that can take a long time and is not always worth it. Then one thing I noticed is how, and this is not any surprise to me, I've noticed this over the years, but from this list in particular, the items that were a higher price point, maybe designer brands or just, you know, I had them priced up for specific reasons, they took a lot longer. So things like this Dolce & Gabbana coat, this took 444 days to sell, but when it did sell, it left me with almost 150 in profit. So it was worth it to me, but it's not the kind of item that the minute I list it, it immediately has somebody wanting to buy it. It's gonna take a while for somebody who wants to buy it and can buy it at that price point. So it took a long time. But these are items that I don't mind holding out for personally, but just something to consider if you are picking up items. The ones like this can sit for quite a long time. Another good example is this Noor K Nanomiya t-shirt. This took 461 days. Again, took a long time, but left me with a great profit in the end. And this Burberry hoodie that just sold the other day took over 200 days to sell, but left me with a very good profit, sold for $90-ish on eBay. Really excellent sale. So great flips, but very long holds, very long wait times. All right, just had to change my battery. Can maybe tell, maybe can't tell, but this next item is a very specific item, a very specific lesson that I have to share. And this is the item that took over 1,000 days to sell. So this was a Blair windbreaker jacket that I thought was a good style, nice windbreaker, good purple color, had some embroidery, love it, vintage, great. The unfortunate thing was I spelled Blair wrong. So I had an E at the end of Blair, and I didn't notice that for probably like at least a year of it being listed. And unfortunately, anytime somebody would, of course, like look up that brand, it would not come up. It would just be lost in the abyss and in the unknown space of where items go when you mess up and do something wrong like this one. So one letter wrong on a listing can completely destroy it and destroy its searchability, really. Well, I hope this was helpful hearing from my sales. I think nothing will be more helpful than looking at your own data and your own sales and pulling some patterns and conclusions that will help you likely a little bit more specifically, but hopefully this was some good, slightly more general advice based on my data. Before I end this video, I did want to share this 3-step little like decision filter you can use at the thrift store when you're looking at items, deciding whether to pick them up based on, you know, what I was finding. And that is, 1, would someone search for this item? Is it something that people would likely look up when they're looking on Google or eBay or Poshmark or wherever to find some clothes to buy? Is it current or is it already really outdated? Are people looking for that style and wearing that style? Is it like a TikTok trend or just one that's clearly everywhere? Are a lot of people looking for it? And then, can I picture multiple buyers buying this item? Are there multiple people who could wear this item in different ways? And, you know, basically, is the net pretty wide of people that would likely buy this item, or is it a very narrow, specific buyer, in which case it might take a little bit longer to sell? So a few things to consider when you're out thrifting, but please do let me know if you are someone who would rather take a really fast $30 flip or wait several months for a $100 or $200 flip. Let me know down in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.